Hello viewers, welcome to today's episode of Women's View. I'm your host Anne Moremi, and it's a great pleasure to have you with us in studio today. Please remember that you can be able to watch our previous episodes. We're on YouTube, we're also on Facebook. So the show is live, but if you want to watch the previous episodes, kindly subscribe, and then you can be able to have a list of all that we've talked about, and you can be able to still comment, and we shall be able to be in touch with you. We also have an SMS line. The number is 21144, and we love it when you interact with us. So kindly send in your questions, your suggestions, and we'll be able to get back to you. Today's topic is very interesting. It's dance for wellness, and with me in studio, I have a very interesting and exciting guest, and I'd like her to introduce herself. Welcome.
Hello. Hey Anne. Hey guys.
Hey.
My name is Chiki Kuruka, so I'm a dance wellness advisor.
Welcome to the show, Chiki.
Why, thank you.
And let's talk about your names a little.
Tell me.
Your name is Chiki Kuruka. Is Kuruka your real name?
No.
Because Kuruka in Swahili means jump.
Yeah, I'm aware. That's why I chose it. And also in Sheng, it means to the extreme.
Ah, in Sheng?
Yeah.
Kuruka like kuchizi or something?
Yeah.
Ah,
to
interesting.
the max.
Ah, to the max.
Yeah.
So you're, okay, well, what inspired you to choose that name?
I really wanted a Kenyan sounding name. And so actually it was super funny when I first came here. Obviously I knew no Swahili, so I was going through all the lists. I was like, dance, dancy, that's boring. Like,
yeah, like that. What is dance in Swahili?
Dancy.
Oh, dancy,
Yeah.
D-A-N-S-I.
Yeah. I was like, that sucks.
Yeah.
So let me just like go through. And then the word kuruka came out when we were looking at a thesaurus.
Yes, this.
So I was just like, okay, that sounds kind of cool.
I like
because
that.
even if you're not Kenyan, it's just a cool sounding
It's a cool
word.
African name.
Yeah,
you know, African
exactly.
word. And already I can tell from your accent that you're not from Kenya.
I'm
Where
not.
are you? Where did you grow up? Tell us
I
about
was brought up in the UK.
And when did you move to Kenya?
About 5 years ago now. Actually,
okay.
5 years ago, yeah.
What brought you to Kenya? Is it dance, or did you just
No.
have friends here?
My boyfriend likes to say love, but that's a lie. If you ever hear him saying that, it's a lie. I was
Is he
living.
Kenyan?
He's very Kenyan.
Ah, okay.
I was living with my two best friends in the UK, and they're half Kenyan.
Okay.
So it was weird. We all had quite successful companies in England, but we were young. We were like 24, 25.
And you already had companies.
Exactly.
Oh, that's something we need to talk about.
So I
also.
feel like we peaked a bit too early, and we were like, okay, and now
What next?
And
Like,
now
we've done that.
We've done this. We've done that. We've
that.
got a nice apartment. Got nice cars. And now,
What
so
next, yeah.
what? So they came home one day and they were like, oh, by the way, we're moving to Kenya, and I just assumed they meant me too. So I was just like, okay, let's go. let's do this.
And they're looking at you like,
They look. Well, they
We,
couldn't say
not
no.
you.
They just like, okay, yeah, you're welcome.
we'll flow with you.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly. Just go with the flow. So I went home to my family. I was like, guys, I'm moving to Kenya. And I remember the moment my mum was like, have you ever visited Kenya? Like, why don't you start with that? And I was like, no. Go hard or go
moving.
home. Like, I'm moving. It'll be fine.
So you actually moved to Kenya. You didn't come to visit and then like it and then decide to move. You just moved.
I just came.
Okay.
I
At
just
least you
came.
had some Kenyan friends, and you're actually very, you're a risk taker.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what was your first experience of Kenya? Did you like it? Of course, you're
I
still here, so you
loved it.
love it.
I didn't just like it. I loved it. My uncle actually lives here, and my aunt is Tanzanian. She lives here as well.
Ah, okay.
So I did have a base. I did not know anyone when I first
At
came.
least you had a bit of a family to help
exactly.
you settle in.
And I had my two best friends who are like family to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I just loved it. I just remember thinking, why would anyone choose to live in England
Well,
or
Kenya is
Europe
there.
when you've just got this stunning country? But then I also felt really passionately about the fact that there are quite a few holes in areas that I know quite a lot about. It just seemed as if, as a continent, there are a few kind of gaps that hadn't yet been kind of like really manipulated. So then I felt passionately about kind of closing up some of those gaps, and super passionate, especially about dance, about paying people well, changing the way that we view. I'm as pro-Kenyan as possible. My whole team is Kenyan. So it's how do we recruit Kenyan? How do we use Kenyan music? How do we pay Kenyan people well? Like, how do we do that? So that became almost like my mission.
Oh, wow. Welcome to Kenya. I know it's been 5 years.
I know,
You can almost welcome other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Here.
I do. I've brought so many people to Kenya.
Oh, that's great. So tell us about how you got into dance, because that's what we're talking about today, dance and wellness.
Yes.
And the fact that the two are very correlated and they go well together. How did you get into dance?
I have always been hyper.
Okay.
So I think when I was like 4 or 5, my mom was just like, yo, we need to curb this.
Calm
down. Breathe in, breathe out. So she sent me to dance school. She sent me to ballet school.
Okay, yes.
It was a weird one because I was really good at ballet. I actually got a scholarship, and there was a Russian ballet teacher.
When you were 4 years?
No.
Much later.
Much later.
Okay.
And so there was a Russian ballet teacher that used to come to my school, and I used to leave school and start learning ballet kind of whilst other people were in class.
Yeah, you got so like attracted to it and other
aspects. And that's the funny thing is I didn't like it that much.
But you were good at it.
Yeah.
Oh, but you didn't like it?
Not that much, no. Not really, no, if I'm being honest. So they were really excited about me as a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
And then puberty hit. And hips came, and boobs came, and I remember my ballet
dancers. The tutus can still fit?
Pardon?
The skirt, the
no,
ballet
no,
skirt,
it's not necessarily that. It's just that ballet dancers are very petite.
Oh yes, that's true.
You have to be picked up. You have to be, and just
actually they're almost weightless.
Yeah, exactly.
They flip so many times.
Well, it's not. I mean, part of that is technique, but male ballet dancers are quite short.
Okay.
And there was at the time. It's changing a little bit now. A very particular kind of physique that was a ballet dancer. So I remember, God bless her, her name was Miss Volmerans, telling my mom, you know, she sticks to her, like every dancer has a diet. So she sticks to her diet, she sticks to her workout. Like, this is just biology. There is nothing we can do about this.
Oh my.
So, yeah, she might be able to dance, but she's
got to do something.
She's not going to be a professional. No, there's nothing you can do. When your biology is a certain way, there's nothing you can do. So, and that happens to many dancers. That's kind of like the dark side of, especially like classical dance that people don't really talk about that much. That often you're just not appropriate.
And it's mostly got to do with weight, right? Weight and height.
No, not weight as such. It's physique.
Oh, physique. Okay.
Weight suggests overweight, so it wasn't ever that. It was just I had hips and I had boobs, and it's just
those don't work.
Those don't work.
And for a woman, would you want to not have them?
I mean, whatever you're born with. I mean, actually, there are some people that are not born like that, so it's fine. Like, beauty comes in all shapes and sizes.
That's true.
Whatever you're born with, you're born with. But I was just born with hips and boobs, so like, there's nothing. I could not eat for 3 years, and I will always have my physique is like
would
that.
Still remain the same. Even if you lost weight, you would lose it, but you lose weight proportionately.
Exactly.
And so the issue is actually not overweight, like you were talking about. All right, so that led to the dance of ballet, the end of ballet.
But so yeah, it did-ish. So
how did you take the news? Were you happy?
I struggled to remember how I really felt, actually. I think a bit of me was a bit relieved, but I had been doing ballet for hours every day for years.
Yeah, so there was a lot of
like,
a gap in your life.
What am I going to do now? And then I was thinking to myself, do I still want to do this if I can't do it professionally?
Yeah.
Because I didn't love it, so I was doing it more. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I liked it. I just didn't.
You're just not that passionate about it.
I wasn't that passionate about it.
But it helped with, in terms of taking away less of your energy, so that you could be able to at least to sit still in class. Because that's why your mom took you there, to be able to get you.
It wasn't energy in class. It was energy at home that she couldn't.
Oh, it was energy she was trying to get rid of. You climbing on top of windows and tables.
Exactly.
Okay.
It helps. I think dance is good in itself. It helps with discipline. Something like ballet. I mean, imagine the discipline of a 12-year-old who's dancing for 3 hours a day and still doing homework and still doing all of those things. I mean, the discipline required is really, really high. Okay. So I am a disciplined person now, and I give a lot of that to the fact that from very young I had to be. But
and that's something that's very positive, because a lot of times that's the kind of character trait that a lot of parents want their children to have.
Yeah, exactly.
But they think that the way to get it is through non-fun activities. Yeah, because dance is a lot of fun. Well, so if you're able to get...
Can be.
It can be. I mean, when you're doing it for 3 hours, honestly, I'm not sure if it's more about fun.
Being smacked for... no. It can be. So just after that, a film called Save the Last Dance came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember that being
I watched it.
It was huge back in the day.
Yeah, it was huge. Yeah.
So I remember
Were you part of it?
No, it was shot in America.
Oh, okay.
I remember that being a really great, and I was like 12. How old do you think I am? I was
I don't 12. Know. I have no idea. I cannot guess that.
So it was a really groundbreaking moment for me because I remember the marriage between hip hop and ballet, and thinking I've always looked at kind of like, at the time it was just hip hop, but yeah, less kind of rigid dance styles, and being really attracted to them.
All right.
So how I marry that with ballet, and I was like, oh my gosh, those things actually exist.
I know, because ballet is a bit formal, a bit too formal. So the fact that they were able to merge those two, I think, was a big thing about the movie.
Yeah. So that kind of made me fall back in love with dance again. I did stop doing ballet, but I started doing dance hall.
Okay.
And then that I was passionate about. So
and did you go to school for this, or is it something that you just came across maybe at home as you were watching your YouTube or watching TV? How did you decide to get into dance hall?
When I started secondary school, in the UK there's a big Caribbean diaspora.
Okay.
So when I started secondary school, the music that people would be the cool people would be listening to was dance hall. So I remember actually my parents' rules have always been, as long as you're getting straight A's, we're pretty liberal with what
anything
else
goes.
You do. Yeah.
So long as your grades are okay.
So I started clubbing at 14, and
is that allowed in the UK?
No, but if you're a girl with boobs, like
and
no one,
hips,
and hips,
and a fake ID,
and a fake ID. I didn't even need a fake ID to begin with. I'd go
and
with
you
my
were tall,
older
you know?
cousins, and I was tall. So and I was always gobby, so I would just kind of walk in, flirt with the bouncer a little bit, and I was fine. So I'd go to So I'd go to heavy dance hall raves, and I remember just loving the culture of dance hall, like the real. Go to a club, your aim is to sweat. It's not this kind of uncomfortable thing that clubbing has become, like high heels,
like
we
sitting
can't move,
on a chair and just bobbing your shoulders,
no,
and your head,
and your head, yeah.
And here you
and
are
then like
yourself
if you've
that
got a
you're
bit
dancing.
of sweat, it's just kind of
you
like,
know,
oh
your
gosh,
makeup
how
has got to be
embarrassing.
right.
Exactly. It wasn't that.
Not that kind.
No.
So it was all sweaty,
exciting. Get down, and like dancehall dancing is quite provocative, but not. It's weird to explain if you're not part of the culture, but it was never provocative because we want this to lead somewhere.
Okay.
It was just that's how the dance style was, and I liked that. So, yeah,
you had the hips.
I started with raving. It was raving that
created the passion.
Yeah.
So did you go to school after that for dance hall?
Yeah.
Okay. I think being in the UK is very was a very good for you because there's lots of schools that offer this kind of dance. Yeah
and no. Schools are important, but Kenyan street culture is epic.
Yeah, that's true.
So I just think anywhere you can access what you love, access it. And if you actually go,
it doesn't have to be in such a formal
setup. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Actually, sometimes that's. If you look at how like dance classes are taught in Jamaica, for example, if you watch the YouTube clips, some of them are done in studios, but many of them are still done on the street.
On the street, that's true. Yeah.
So yes and no.
Okay. Anyway, either way, you have done a lot of dance that is structured and that is offered in a school setup. Yeah. And the company that you set up by the time you were coming to Kenya, was it related to dance? Yeah, so when I was coming to Kenya, I had a wellness company. So we do actually this was, so this was all the way from school. I set it up, first of all, at school. I was working with schools using dance for kids who are at risk of being expelled. That's right. To try and get them kind of back into the school system, loving school again. Okay. Because the problem was school just wasn't fun at the time. I think like, especially in England, so much has been learnt and realising that school has to be enjoyable is something that has been learnt. And learning is enjoyable.
And learning
just
is
that
enjoyable.
The way sometimes it is delivered tends to remove all the fun out of it. So it's trying to bring back the fun. Exactly. Yeah. But also trying to like, if someone is a noisy kid at class, or if someone is distracted, or someone, not writing them off. That's like the immediate go-to doesn't have to be, I'm going to discipline you more. Yeah, like you need to keep quiet. You need to keep on your chair, you know. I feel like we need to ask more questions. You know, there are many reasons why kids are like that. So we had maybe 30 at-risk
kids it was myself and my partner in the UK.
Was that, this you did after you finished high school?
No, this was I was still in high school.
Oh, well, you were still in high school. So this was in your school, the school you were attending?
In my school.
And so, was it you who came up with the dance as a solution?
Yeah.
Ah, so you just went to your, like, maybe
Headmistress.
your headmistress?
Yeah.
Had a meeting with her?
Yeah, and she said, we'll try it for a term.
Excellent.
And it was successful.
Good for you.
So I remember you become the go-to person of conversation.
Yes.
So I remember kids who had been like removed from class just telling me my parents are going through divorce, or just telling me it's really tough at the moment, we can't afford dinner. You know, like, and realizing wellness is all of those things. So to immediately just disregard someone because they're on the fringes a little bit, rather than asking the questions why is dangerous.
Yes.
And if you're a figure of authority who's always had kind of like a negative approach, you can't come and be like, why, and expect someone to give you an honest answer.
Already there's a huge
there's a boundary.
There's a boundary there that they can't even
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
so true. In the dance session, most of them were not great dancers, and many of them didn't necessarily even like dance, but they liked having a space where they could just be.
Yeah.
We'd play the latest tunes. You know, we'd do dancing, but it was much more than that. It was, how do we talk about your issues?
It was mostly conversation, getting to know the root cause of the behavior, so that you can be able to actually change it or influence them in a different direction.
Exactly.
Okay. So you did that when you were in high school?
Yeah.
Wow. For how many years?
The last 2 years of high school.
Okay. And then when you finished, did you continue with the program?
Ish. So when I was in uni, we started it in uni.
Okay. You went on with it at a higher level.
Yeah.
Did you tell us about the success of that program at your high school?
So
or the lack of success?
Yeah. So our first term, none of the kids were expelled. None.
Wow.
So of all 30 who were at serious risk, we managed to keep all of them in school. And I think over our 2 years, we only had one kid that was expelled. But we'd also really lobby on behalf of the kids. It was very easy for me, I was a bit of a goody two-shoes, to go to a teacher and say, look, so-and-so is really struggling for A, B, C, D reason. So can we, think about something? And I was also head girl of my school, so that was part of... Oh, you're head girl as well? Yeah. Well, you're very lucky because you had good grades. Yeah. You could dance. I mean, you were approachable. So there's a lot going on for you, which was awesome. Yeah, that's okay. And that's a very high success rate. It was very high. 100%. Actually, the school didn't expect it to be that successful. And it was great because I had been lobbying to have a prom, and prom is a very American concept. We don't have that in England. So it was our first year, after I had done that year of working with the students, that our teachers loosened up a little bit, because I went to Catholic school, so it was quite tough. So it was the first year that our teachers loosened up a little bit, and were like, okay, maybe a prom. Let's push it. Yeah, let's push it a little bit. And you see now, they were looking up to you as somebody who has been so successful, especially at something that they have failed at. So of course you could push in some new ideas. I was just always one of those people that had good relationships with teachers. So it wasn't necessarily the program. Like, I've just always got on. My mum always taught me teachers are people. Like, when you go to school, often you see teachers as these kind of like, they can do no wrong. I know. If they're in a bad mood, so my mum has always taught me teachers are people. If they come in a bad mood, it's normal. It happens to you. It happens to everyone. If they come in a bit tired, fine. So just try and treat them like you would anyone else. Let me interrupt you. We need to take a break. We'll be right back after the show, and I hope that you're enjoying yourself. Thank you. Hello viewers, welcome to Women's View.
What you see is what you get.
Very exciting and fun.
We grew up in a certain community and we were told this is how women are.
Everybody was coming with what they can get.
This is not a joke. You signed up for life.
Very interesting.
A woman is this.
You want somebody else to do something for you that you can do for yourself.
You know what, you're doing a great job. You keep doing it.
You are going to school to become a musician. Like, seriously?
Okay, hit.
The show airs every weekday from 11 a.m. to noon and is repeated every evening from 7 to 8 p.m. I look forward to seeing you there.
people have dominance over themselves. Why? Daddy, no money. Give me money, I'll buy for you. Daddy, I say I don't have money. Hey, I know, Daddy.
Can the Ethiopian change his skin? Or the leopard its spots?
예수님이 우리의 모든 죄값을 다 지불하시기 때문에 예수님 다 이루었다라고 말씀하셨잖아요.
So Jesus paid for all the wages of our sin. That's why he could say it is finished.
Yesu alipa mshahara wa dhambi ya deni zetu lote, ndiposa akasema kwamba imekwisha.
Everyone, God is like the supercomputer.
Upendo wa Mungu ni kama hii supercomputer.
And this is G Radio.
Hello guys and welcome. This is G Radio, #1 TV show, and we're coming live at GBS TV. And I'm your host, Isaac Tabitha.
I'm the co-host Evan Tinyari. As usual, we have our DJ Deco. You can also send your views on my Instagram page and Tinyari_Eva.
And also you can get me on our Facebook page as Isaac Tabitha. Thank you so much, guys.
Keep it here.
How many of you use your real names on Facebook? Wengine ni Sweetie Pretty.
You must succeed in being an eagle and not a chicken.
I'm seeing myself owning the biggest media house in Africa. Yes, I could employ you, in fact. Yes.
All right, now it is going to another direction. But that's a question.
When you are born and when you grow up, now you do the work. You become a person who likes the country. You understand, right? I mean, not getting a job at Kenya Power, right?
And you know what? Who you are online is exactly who you are offline. And who you are offline is who you are online.
여러 군데 가서 강연을 많이 해보는데
So I've been to many places to give lecture.
우나일레 와서 와 이러면
Whenever I say 우나일레 와서
눈썹으로 인사를 대답을 해.
they respond with their eyebrow.
Welcome back to the show. I hope that you're enjoying yourself. Remember that you can be able to interact with us. Our SMS line is 21144. We're also live on Facebook and on YouTube, and the handle is GBS Kenya. Today we're talking about dance for wellness, and with me in studio is Chiki Kuruka, who is she's in wellness and she's in dance. So enjoy the rest of the show. So Chiki, you were telling me that you went on to do the same thing in uni.
Yeah.
You set up, was it a club or what?
Yeah. So in uni, don't ask why. Just don't ask why, because I don't know.
Okay, I shall not ask why.
We turned it into a salsa club.
Oh, salsa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I know, because you're doing dancehall and you're done ballet. Of course, it didn't work or whatever. Okay. Was that a good thing? Because the look on your face is like, why? What was I thinking?
I still don't know what I was thinking, because I wouldn't say I was the best salsa dancer. So my reasons for doing it at uni changed.
Mm-hmm.
If you're at uni, you're not really at risk of expulsion in the same way. So
of course, that's true.
Now it became more, man, society is tough on women. Like, if you have particular body shapes, you're just taught to feel badly about yourself.
That's right.
So it became more of, how do we make all women feel sexy and beautiful? And I think the reason why it was salsa is because I was really good friends at that time with an amazing salsa dancer. He was from Ecuador. He was in Univer. He was just at uni.
Oh.
So he was like I was performing regularly. So he wasn't my main dance partner, but he was my dance partner for particular things.
Okay.
So it became about that.
So you're mostly targeting the ladies. Of course, salsa is for both. Anyway.
I just cared about the ladies.
Okay. And how did that go?
It was awesome. The turnout was incredible.
Was that the first dance club at the university?
No. I was part of the official dance club, but I didn't ever call it a dance club, and I still don't refer to myself in dance terms. it was just more a space for people to feel good about themselves.
Yeah, and that is actually something that you're really big on, wellness.
Yeah.
It seems that for you the main issue is wellness.
Yes.
And then you use dance
as a tool.
As a tool. Is that the, okay, of course there are many tools that you can use. I guess dance works for you because you've been exposed a lot in it. But to be honest, I think when I listen to you and talk to you, what you're mostly passionate about is wellness.
That's why I'm a wellness advisor. I'm not a dance teacher.
I know, right? You are. You call yourself. When I met you for the first time, it was through dance. So for me, I always think of you as dance, but that's true. You're a wellness advisor.
Yeah.
At what point did you always refer to yourself as a wellness advisor, or did that change or that realization come to you and then you made a switch?
Yes, because I always refer to myself. The word wellness wasn't really, but feel good, like I had many terms.
Yes.
But always basically wellness. Because at uni, I was still training. So when you're still training, to call yourself a teacher is a little bit rich.
Yes.
So I was training, I was performing, I was a dancer at that time. But I didn't feel like I was in a position to teach dance.
Okay.
But what I definitely could do was use the skills that I had to try and make people feel better about themselves, because I never struggled with a lack of confidence or anything like, and I do attribute a lot of that to dance.
Ah, okay. Do you attribute it also to maybe upbringing? Was it something that your parents did for you? You know, because for example, you know, your mom, when she saw that you're a very high energy person, rather than try and tone you down, she looked for an avenue for you to channel that energy in a certain direction, rather than try and stifle it. So would you attribute a little bit of your very healthy self-image to upbringing, or is it mostly just dance?
Yes and no. I have incredible parents. I'm really close to both of them. But I would definitely say myself and my sister are very different people. So I don't think it's necessarily that. Although I have incredible parents.
Yeah.
I'm just like that.
Okay.
And that's how I was born, and
That's how
what
you
I
are.
like to give back. Also, my mum in particular has so many issues with her own self-image. So I would say that more than anything, it inspired me not to be like that. My dad doesn't. My dad's a runner. My dad's, pretty has kind of a healthy self-image. But my mum has this kind of unhealthy, I think, weight focus. And no, I just did not want that to be my focus in life.
Okay. All right, that it's good that you actually are also quite clear about the fact that weight is not, people have overemphasized the issue of weight. What are your thoughts around like dancing for weight loss or exercise for weight loss?
Yeah.
Is weight loss the real issue, or is
I think in extreme cases, when your weight becomes an illness, like obesity, then yes, that's something you need to deal with. Obesity in the same way you would deal with
any
a broken
other
leg.
disease.
You have to deal with it. So yes, under those circumstances, you must treat weight as kind of the thing that you're focused on.
Okay.
But even in those extreme cases, you need to understand the whys. And I don't think that's just true to weight. Just in general, you need to understand the whys of behavior. You need to understand the whys of, and eating is a type of behavior pattern.
It is, yeah.
So why are you doing that? Why are you falling into those negative patterns?
Yeah.
And the reason why I love my industry, I love wellness, I love the fitness industry, I love the dance industry. The reason why I feel sometimes a bit frustrated, especially with the fitness industry in Kenya, is there's this kind of single-handed focus on body goals.
Yeah, that's
when you
true.
look at trainers online, it's normally topless or shoes. And don't get me wrong, I'm in a crop top half of the time when you see my videos as well, but I'm always very conscious about what it is
wrong
that
with,
I am
with
trying
that?
to communicate. Well, because I feel like if the message that you're sending out is follow me to look like me,
yeah, that's true.
I don't think that's a positive message
It's
to
not,
send
because
out.
you're not even appreciating the uniqueness of each individual.
Well, not just that. I feel like aesthetics vary between countries. What is considered attractive in Kenya wouldn't necessarily even be considered attractive in Tanzania, certainly wouldn't be considered attractive in England.
Yeah,
I remember when I first came here, Vera Sidika was on the front page, and I remember thinking there is no way on God's green earth someone with the hips and a butt like her would make it to a front page.
I know.
So when you're in England, you're really taught being a size 0, being a size 2, being a size 4 is what you should aim towards. Whereas if you're in like Black American communities or if you're in African communities, having a hips and a bum is like a huge privilege.
Yes.
So aesthetic,
it's very subjective.
It's so subjective, which makes it dangerous because it means anywhere you are, your wellness is attached to the image of where you are.
It's external.
It's completely external.
Yes. And wellness is really a lot of internal. It starts from inside.
Completely.
Yes.
So that's one thing. Second of all, people's metabolic rate is just different. So you can have someone who can eat everything under the sun and never put on weight.
Yes.
And you can have someone who can eat significantly less and
the weight is piling.
Weight is piling on.
Yeah. So it's very important to understand the why.
It's important to understand
behind
the why.
every type of behavior that you find is negative.
Yes.
It's having a negative impact on you.
Yes.
All right. Like in high school, you already had people you were working with because they had already been flagged as they're going to be expelled. In university as well. What about now? Who's the kind of person who would come to you?
No one.
No one.
I don't really work with clients in the same way anymore because I feel like there's much more power with media and digital. So for me, it's now about spreading that message to the biggest amount of audience as possible.
Okay.
The only times that I work closely with someone is if it's an at-risk group.
Okay.
So for example, I work with cancer care patients, I work with people who are part of the mental health spectrum, but as part of a particular group.
Yes.
I work with young girls at risk of abuse and homelessness. So, yeah, I work with particular groups, but I can't just be I don't have a class. No.
And you see, in this particular case, then you're the one who identifies the group that you think dance as a tool would work for their wellness.
Yes and no. So I just do partnerships.
Okay.
So I'll just do partnership with, for example, the Kenyan National Cancer Care Trust.
Ah, okay.
And yeah,
you took it up from there. And you actually are very passionate about cancer. You actually think that there's a correlation for wellness. Already when you have cancer, you have very little energy. Are you going to be able to dance?
I wouldn't say I'm particularly passionate about cancer.
Okay.
I am passionate about ill health.
Ill health. Okay.
And cancer is just one example.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say I'm probably most passionate about mental health because I've worked a lot in the mental health community. Yes, anyone can work out. You just have to temper the workout to
suit their circumstance.
But like I said, it's not about the workout. It's about understanding the psychology and encouraging people to change the psychology. So for something like cancer, it's been proven that if you enter treatment already feeling like you're going to heal, you've got a significantly higher chance of beating it than if you enter already feeling like you've lost the battle.
Exactly.
So for me, it's always about the psychology. So how do we use the wide variety of tools to ensure that people feel good, and because it changes the way you are. With mental health, the same thing, you know.
Okay. All right. We'd like to take a short break. Viewers, remember that we're on YouTube and we're on Facebook. The handle is GBS Kenya. Subscribe and we'll be right back after the break.
My name is Zawadi. At Mahanaim, I studied to qualify for the IGCSE through the Cambridge International Educational Program.
We Mahanaim International High School students enjoy extracurricular activities such as joining GBS TV Club, Taekwondo, cultural dance, orchestra, swimming, foreign languages, community service, and much more. I believe this unique experience I gained here will go a long way into strengthening the future me.
The teachers and other ministers at Mahanaim spared no pain in running with us until the end of the mile, until we secured all of our goals.
And that's how I passed my IGCSE exams.
Mahanaim International High School cares about my future. Beyond our education, Mahanaim nurtures us to have bright and healthy mind so that we could become great future leaders.
Hello viewers, welcome to Women's View.
What you see is what you get.
Very exciting and fun.
We grew up in a certain community and we were told this is how women are.
Everybody was coming with what they can get.
This is not a joke. You signed up for life.
Very interesting.
A woman is this.
You want somebody else to do something for you that you can do for yourself.
You know what you're doing, a great job. You keep doing it.
You are going to school to become a musician. Like, seriously?
Okay, hit. The show airs every weekday from 11 a.m. to noon and is repeated every evening from 7 to 8 p.m. I look forward to seeing you there.
Healing, hope, restoration. Amazing stories of real people like you who have triumphed over tragedy. Watch Turning Point International and be inspired to reach your turning point.
It really ministers to the soul of man, and as a pastor, you benefit a lot because people learn and they learn how to cope with issues probably you don't even deal with in your sermons.
It's not reality TV, it's real life TV.
Welcome back to the show. And remember that you can send in your comments. The number is 21144. Also engage us on YouTube and Facebook. The handle is GBS Kenya. So Chiki, we were continuing with your journey about how you've become a wellness advisor. And after uni, tell us what happened. Did you get into a different space where you're still using dance as a tool?
So after uni, it was funny because it was like, if you Google wellness advisor jobs, there was nothing. So I was just kind of like, and now what do I do?
I know. What next?
Yeah, what next?
Yes.
So I did a little bit on events.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for a record label part-time.
Okay.
Which was awesome. But I just, unless I'm being fulfilled with something that is, for me, a real important passion.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how cool something is, it's just not going to fulfill me.
It won't last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started managing a dance company, which was cool. Like I was the manager.
Yes.
And part-time I used to volunteer to work with the mental health service.
Ah.
So
what services would you offer at the hospital?
Conversation.
Conversation, yes.
So,
number one.
number
Most
one.
important.
Most important.
I really need to get away from
Yeah.
dance and just think. You would offer a person that they could talk to.
A person they could talk to.
An environment.
An environment where they felt comfortable to talk. And then a solution, like planning. So what was happening, there was a bit of a kind of shift about the mental health community in the UK. And it became very much about planning. So how do we ensure that you always feel, despite the fact that you're in this kind of supported living environment, that you're working towards particular goals, particular, there's nothing worse than feeling like you're just a patient somewhere.
And you're stuck.
And
like there's no
stuck.
goal that
There's
you're
no
looking
goal,
forward to.
exactly.
There's no end game.
There's no end game. You're just
I mean,
there.
even when you become well, then what, you know?
Well,
what
I mean,
next?
some of them have never become well. If you've got like biological schizophrenia or bipolar.
It's just something you have to live with.
Yeah, you just learn to manage. So it was like, like if you always are going to have this thing, then what? So we started with that, like planning, conversation, and dance we used a lot to get people moving, because medication, especially for like some of the psychosis, can make you really drowsy
that's true.
and sickly. So getting people up and moving, because they'd be quite still for a long
And
time.
that sedentary lifestyle doesn't even help you in getting better. So just jumping around,
moving around,
helps.
Getting your dopamine levels flowing, getting people feeling good about themselves. So I was doing conversation and dance. Then I met still one of my closest friends. She was the administrator there, but she's also an artist.
Okay.
So we used to have conversations about how do we make this broader? How do we use dance? How do we use art for them to communicate feelings? Because also, if you've been stigmatized your whole life, sometimes even learning how to communicate how you feel with your words can be quite tough.
That's true.
But art, dance, they're great forums to communicate your feelings. So we created, and then it used to annoy us a little bit that the community had one idea of how these guys were.
Yeah.
But us on the ground had a very different idea.
And you also had to get the community to change also.
Yeah, and you've got
that must
kind
have
of
been
like
tough, huh?
Ish. So you've got shows like, you've got films that make schizophrenia look like someone's going to kill you at any minute now.
I know, like you need to have a bodyguard when
You
you're
need-
around that
exactly,
person. Or always have
exactly.
your eye on the exit
have
door in case you need
trainers
to.
on. Always have some trainers on.
You never know when you need
never
your
know when
legs
you
to
need
get you out
run.
of the situation.
Exactly. So that used to annoy us because it was like schizophrenia. It's only because it's been stigmatized so badly. Schizophrenia is a manageable disorder if you're on medication. In the same way, I don't know, having epilepsy or diabetes,
high blood pressure. I mean,
blood pressure,
chronic diseases. It's a chronic disease. It's a chronic
Exactly.
mental health disease. Yeah.
So we used to see people who are, for us, actually pretty damn inspiring on a daily basis, and then you'd see how the community would shun them.
Yeah.
And so then it used to be like, if you guys are never going to get job opportunities, if you're never going to, you know, be able to even then start feeling comfortable in the community, how do we move your journey forward?
Exactly. How do we motivate you?
How do we even motivate you?
To want to be...
For what?
Yeah, for what?
It starts to be for what? So we created a show called Challenging Stigmas. So we'd have... we'd say to the members of the community, this is your opportunity to ask whatever dodgy question
that you can't ask
that you feel scared to ask.
Yes.
Come, because I guarantee you, anyone with a mental health disorder, there's nothing worse than, oh my gosh,
I know,
you know,
whispering behind their backs.
Ask. If you have a question, ask. Or we have Google now. Google.
Yes.
So we used to encourage members of the community to come and to ask all their questions.
That's true.
Then we'd put on a show. So we'd put on a dance show, a drama show, and an art show.
So to basically entertain them as they're
entertain
there.
them.
And to draw them.
And to draw them, but also to allow our guys to communicate.
Yeah, that's true.
And dance is amazing because, especially if you're not dancing, it's a bit silly. So it kind of like breaks down a lot of your barriers very fast.
That's true. And then you can be able to interact. Now the stigma actually already just dropped. It drops off, and then you can be able to ask the questions. Would they ask you, or would the mental health patients also be present to answer the questions?
Yeah, so we'd have just a roundtable discussion. So I would be a moderator.
Okay.
My friend would be a moderator, and everyone else would just be someone with a mental health disorder. So we'd have people from the community, shop owners, people who live there, who just knew that the service existed, would come and just ask questions, celebrate them, celebrate their achievements. And the end goal was always employment. So how do we drop these kind of barriers to get guys employed? And that really worked. So we started off having like a mentorship program. So we wanted everyone who was involved in Challenging Stigmas to have some form, because in the UK the government pays. If you've got a chronic mental health disorder, you have a monthly allowance by the government.
That's good. Because
so
I mean the cost of medication is high, and
no, Medicaid, we have a National Health Service.
Oh yeah, you don't have NHS, yes, okay.
So no, cost of
medication. So it's because you can't get a job, it's like an allowance for your upkeep.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Housing, electric, food, those kind of things. So they weren't necessarily in need of an income, but work is so much more than just money.
It's just the money you get at the end of the month. Yes, it's how you interact. It gives you a purpose, something to wake up to every morning and look forward to, a place to go. You know, a reason to dress up or whatever.
A reason to just get out
of bed. You know?
So we started with a mentorship program to begin with. So we encouraged everyone in the local community to employ at least one of our service users. And that was brilliant. I mean, we didn't have any. I mean, the worst we'd have is someone bunking off or not turning up because, you know, because with a lot of mental health, there's a correlation between drug and alcohol use.
Oh yeah, that's
so
true.
Someone might
maybe had a late night.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so
couldn't wake up or is late.
Exactly.
Or
so
is
that would
their
be
breath
the worst.
or whatever.
Exactly. So it'd get them calling us like, "Yo, this person hasn't shown up for work today," and then it'd be my job to
look for them.
Like,
come
what's
on.
up? And normally they're just passed out. It's fine. But
and you know that happens sometimes even to people who are not mental health patients. It's just that when it happens to the mental health patient, sometimes you feel like it's blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's kind of after uni. So then I ended up, until I came to Kenya, splitting my time between the both. So I was still managing dance company. We got the dance company connected to the record label, and then. Then
to the one about stigma. What was it?
Challenging
stigma. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm like so amazed at how with dance, you've been able to do so many things. It's actually amazing, you know.
I think it's because
What did you study in uni?
Philosophy, metaphysics, and logic.
What was inspiring you to study that, as opposed to something more about wellness and to do? Although, well, it is about wellness because it's
wellness,
thinking,
it's critical thinking.
Yeah,
it's kind of for me the core of wellness.
It is, yeah.
I think that's part of why I wanted to study philosophy and logic. Is that if you jump to a conclusion about something before asking the questions, it's often really misfounded, misguided.
That's true.
And I remember our first day at uni, they told us that correlation doesn't necessarily mean cause. And I found that so powerful, just because, for example, every time it rains, your cat goes missing. Just for example, you assume your cat goes missing because of the rain. But really and truly, when it
could be so unrelated.
Yeah, when it rains, you're in a bad mood, and the cat knows you're in a bad mood and goes missing.
It starts avoiding you.
So I think it's so dangerous to look at two things that happen at the same time and assume that because of that, there's a link. And I think we do that all the time.
We do, a lot of times.
A lot of times. So I wanted to think critically like that. So how do we look at a kid who is at risk of expulsion and use dance to get them back into school? How do we use dance to make people more confident about their bodies? How do we talk as communities to get people with mental health more engaged in the local community?
Yeah, that's right.
And I could only do that by thinking critically about issues rather than just saying, oh, X
let's do this, without any supporting reason behind it. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in Kenya, that you know, because
oh my gosh, what am I not
it's been 5 years.
At the moment? It's been 5 years.
What is it that is really exciting to you?
So much. So I work with, first of all, I've hired 15 dancers. Most of my dancers have come from either Buruburu or Isiolo.
Isiolo is a bit far.
Yeah, so I have 4 dancers who moved to Nairobi after I hired them. So yeah, I have a team of about 15 dancers. So I manage the contracts on their behalf. So they go and perform all over. That keeps me...
Mostly at what kind of events? Corporate events or?
Corporate, weddings, club nights.
Yeah, weddings, weddings is fun. And you know, Kenyan weddings tend to be rather copy-paste. So, you know, when you put a dance in there, it makes a huge difference.
Well, everything everywhere is copy-paste. So if you just do something a bit different, then it
makes a whole difference.
Makes a whole difference.
Guess what? It's time for you to give your parting shot. Time is up already. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Already. I mean, we need more time. I feel like we've just gone through half your story. Like the 5 years you've been in Kenya, like we really need to talk about what gaps you've seen and how you're feeling them and what, you know, anyway, give a parting shot and then we'll invite you here another day.
What's my parting shot?
What do you want?
What is my parting shot?
I don't know. I'm sure it will have to do something to do with wellness because I've interacted with you a little.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'll just give my Instagram handle.
Okay.
So not my Instagram.
That's her parting shot. Her Instagram handle.
My Instagram handle, which is, by the way, Chiki Kuruka at Chiki Kuruka.
What are your real
CHIKIKURUKA. No. I didn't mean my actual handle, but there it is. I say as my description. For me, life is about a continued pursuit of happiness. But not just your own happiness, your community's happiness.
Yes.
So
you need to be spreading it.
Not just spreading it, understanding it. So if you start your everyday with, I want to share and seek happiness, I definitely think it changes the way that we interact with one another.
That's a good parting shot. You want to repeat it? Thank you so much for being with us today. Please go to her IG handle. What is the name again?
Chiki Kuruka.
Chiki Kuruka. And there's a lot of content there that is positive, and it's all about wellness, using dance as a tool for wellness. Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure having you.
It's been
and
awesome.
I look forward to you coming back another time because the 5 years in Kenya, I really need to know what you've been up to. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.